And hi, it's Evan Kirstel. Today I have an amazing guest and company, Amitabh Sinha, co-founder and CEO of Workspot, a company you're going to learn about in this discussion. Amitabh, how are you?
Good. How are you, Evan?
I'm doing well for a Monday here, but very nice to connect with you. I've been reading a lot about you and Workspot, and we have a lot to talk about. Before we dive right in, maybe you could introduce yourself and Workspot for the viewers.
Yeah, my name is Amitabh Sinha. I'm the CEO of Workspot. We started the company back in 2012, and really it was to reimagine a way to work where a customer, instead of buying a Windows PC from like an HP, Dell, or Lenovo, could rent a cloud PC from us in the cloud. And it's a simple service that enterprise customers can use. And it's designed to be simple, but really used for security, secure hybrid work. So if you have employees who are working remotely, shipping them physical PCs may not often be possible. So how, if you centralize the PC in the cloud, hence cloud PC, you can give them secure access to their Windows desktop and applications without having to worry about the endpoint.
Yeah, fantastic. Not a new concept, but your execution here is very new. And it looks to me to be quite brilliant. You've partnered with Google Cloud to bring the Workspot Enterprise Desktop Cloud to Google Chromebooks. So I'm intrigued by all of that technology, but tell me more about this partner-led solution, what it means for the industry, the features, benefits, and the collaboration between you and Google Cloud.
Right. So we launched the solution originally on Microsoft Azure platform. And we were working with the Azure team for the first 2.5, 3 years. And then about 2 years ago, we started collaborating with Google. Driven by two things. One is obviously it's a large cloud provider, up and coming, and with excellent cloud technology, right? Just from a networking perspective, storage perspective, it's a really fantastic cloud platform. But also, what was interesting to us was Chromebooks are considered to be the most secure computing platform, right? Like the endpoint is completely it has Chrome OS and a browser, and that's it, right? Like it's considered to be more secure, easy to manage, and a lot of our enterprise customers were interested in that model, right? Where if I have a cloud PC running on a public cloud, how do I access it from the most secure endpoint? And Chromebook was one of those. And so for us, working with Google was really how do we bring those two things together, which is the most secure endpoint with the cloud PC running on Google Cloud, and an end-to-end solution from the two of us.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm a huge fan and user of Chromebooks, and there's so many industries and verticals where Chromebooks are on fire. Education is one that
Right.
comes to mind. So how does Workspot and Google align this solution to meet an organization's remote and hybrid work strategies? Given there's not one strategy these days, if you have
Right.
10 companies, there seems to be about 10 different strategies.
So I think what's happening is it's very use case centric, and so there are not all use cases need this solution set, but there are many use cases that need this, right? And so the couple of ones that I can talk about, one is like a call center use case, right, where you have lots of employees going into a call center, they have access to customer data, and you want to make sure that it's highly secure and protected. And one of the best ways to do it is to equip the end user, the call center employee, with a Chromebook connecting to a cloud PC running on Google Cloud. That's one option. Option two is a developer use case, right, which is software developers trying to collaborate with each other to build software modules around the world, right? So, I mean, developers are extremely difficult to hire, and more companies are faced with very, very distributed development teams. And so how do you let them securely collaborate with each other? And so again, cloud PCs, and what's the endpoint? It could be a Chromebook, it could be another device. And then the third one is a high performance 3D CAD use case, where you're using 3D CAD software from Autodesk or Dassault or to design a building, a plane, or a car, and then you're consuming it from a lightweight endpoint where you can travel with it, maybe even have 5G in it, and then it can collaborate from anywhere. So there's a few different use cases that we see. Financial services is another one where security is paramount, right? So financial services, we see a lot of this use case also.
Yeah, Google Chrome and their cloud division at Google have built some amazing remote provisioning and monitoring and update capability right into Chrome. So it's not the Chrome of a few years ago, even. The
Right,
investment there is pretty
right.
phenomenal. I'm actually reading the analysts are saying Workspot is the only SaaS platform that delivers enterprise class cloud PCs. So you kind of fit into an organization's digital transformation strategy. And I imagine you're looking to kind of accelerate that with a solution that's very timely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think digital transformation is a key sort of driving tailwind for us, right? Because customers in the past did it with on-prem software, which was restricted to one or two data centers. But what the public cloud offers is multiple public cloud infrastructures, each with 30, 40, 50 data centers across the world. And so what we built is this concept of a desktop control fabric, which allows us to distribute these cloud PCs all over the world.
Wow.
And most enterprise customers have fairly large distributed remotely companies, right? So Hyundai, for example, is a customer of ours, and their use case spans continents and countries where they're collaborating to build cars across a global supply chain.
I bet.
Um, yeah, and so it's just the enterprise use case is highly decentralized, and so the decentralized nature of the public cloud aligns really well with that. And our architecture makes it super simple for customers to access one, two, three, five, 10 regions across the world.
Fantastic. So the IT teams within the enterprise I assume, are being tasked with providing, supporting, delivering multi-cloud environments together with Workspot. So they're pretty much overloaded, as we've seen from the whole work from home and remote support environment. So how do they do this? Given their limited capacity, ability, headcount wise, how can you help it drive their success? I guess
Yep.
is my question.
And I think that's where the SaaS part of the solution comes in, right? Which is the previous on-prem solutions were very do-it-yourself, right?
Mm.
Which is the way I describe it is you were sold an engine of a car, and assembling the car was up to you. You went and bought your own seats, your chassis, your steering wheel, you assembled it all together. And then your gas mileage and your reliability of your car really dependent on your skills of assembling that. What we offer is an Uber-like service, right? Which is
Mm.
why sell you an engine? Why sell you the car? We're going to give you a service. You just rent it for the time you need it, and you're done. You move on, right? So, for what we hear from our IT teams is, if they're done it the old way, they need about 4 headcount for every 1,000 users,
Wow.
and with Workspot, they need less than a half. And
Wow.
so, what we're doing is enabling IT teams to, whereas before they were more technology focused, which is how do we integrate all these pieces and operate all these pieces, to now they're more business focused, which is what do my users need? And allowing it, delivering it as a SaaS service allows us to solve the problem in a more holistic, complete fashion, so that IT then has time to do other things that they want to do because they're, as you said, overloaded and have too many other things on their plate. So what we are doing is helping them actually not have to learn the technology as much and just focus on the business needs of their community.
Fantastic. And when it comes to enterprise desktop and enabling IT teams to kind of turbocharge computing, it's not just desktop; it's GPU as well. And that sounds quite a challenge across multiple geographies, for example.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's the multiple geography problem. I mean, think of the PCs are the most distributed platforms out there, right? And they're in every single country, every single region, part of the world. Wherever there is a user, there's a PC, right? And cloud PCs need to be equally distributable, right? So the final endpoint might be even like smaller and smaller regions down to the edge, right? So that it's as close to a human being as possible, because the performance will be key in terms of if it's 5 milliseconds away from you versus 15 milliseconds away from you.
Huge.
performance is massively different, right? So we want to, the architecture enables us to distribute it further and further, and that's really what's happening right now with customers.
Fantastic. And you have a very storied career, 20 plus years in the enterprise tech space. Any advice for your peers, other executives in industry to harnessing the power of public cloud? Any practical tips?
I think it's a must harness thing, right? Like, which is, there is no option. Our head of sales says this, which is never ever before in the history of technology has so much dollars been spent in building this global distributed infrastructure. And the best companies in the world will take advantage of this global distributed infrastructure, right? And I think there are use cases which need a lot of centralized infrastructure, like data warehousing and analytics and machine learning. We are probably the one workload that needs the most distributed infrastructure possible. And so there's a unique fit between what we do and what the infrastructure has to offer. But in general, I would say for any organization out there, the power of $1 trillion worth of investment between AWS, Microsoft, and Google has to be used. Like this is the first time in the history of technology that much infrastructure is available for rent and can be consumed very easily. And so every organization has to find a way to use it.
Oh, that's such a great insight. And you've been around this space for so long, well before public cloud came around. And you have a PhD in computer science. Yeah, that's mind blowing. So do you have any chance to go and code anymore, or are you done with that?
I haven't coded in 5 years.
Okay. Well, I'm sure your SQA team are very happy that you're not getting hands-on coding. But thank you so
Exactly.
much for joining the really insightful opportunity, interesting opportunity here in the world of cloud PCs. And I'll be
Thank you.
following you guys for all the news. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Evan. Bye.